Hi, and welcome to April 2024 Patreon rewards video. Okay, so this month I actually got some drawings done, not a lot. Uh, I have to say that the workload is at work is extreme. It's one of the most heavy work loads that I've ever had, heavy work seasons. Like the 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 deadlines are tighter, the amount of work is more. Uh, there is very little breathing room, very little breathing space. It's extreme. It's one of the toughest seasons I've ever had to work on, and it leaves me absolutely wiped out whenever I have any free time. I am wiped out. Uh, and it didn't help that I was burned out for months, but I'm kind of getting back out of it. And thankfully, the Patreon helps a lot because it forces me to do a postcard every month. And that really kind of, it does take me out of that rut. It forces me to do something, for which I am very grateful, actually. So one of the things that I've started doing though is I'm starting to come back to drawing. So I did some drawing. So let's talk about it. Let's begin first with this month's postcard. Speaking of postcards, I did this other Conan drawing, and I'm having a lot of fun drawing these, I have to say. These are just a whole lot of fun. Okay, so the winner of this postcard is Matthew West. Matthew, congratulations, you won this Conan postcard. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun drawing these super buff dudes. So again, just working with lights and darks. This is actually an extension of what I have been doing throughout the week. In the making of this, you will see that this is all, except for the red, this is all done with a Pentel brush pen. This time I didn't use any crow quills at all. And part of the reason why is because of this. So I did these Grim Reapers, following the whole Memento Mori theme that I've been going with. I started with this. So what I did with this was go straight to ink using a Pentel brush pen. So using just brush pen. I went no underdrawing, no pencil drawing, just ink. So what I did was I had an image, AI image generator. I just typed in Grim Reaper. It gave me some weird crap. Like it would just give me sometimes really distorted images. Like it wasn't quite right. Like the skulls had like three eye sockets, and they didn't work. They were broken. They were broken images, but it was good enough for me to like be able to make something up out of it, right? So what I did was I took the weird crap that was coming out of this stupid machine, and then I bounced off of it, and I straight with ink, just with a Pentel brush pen. I started kind of sketching my own thing out of what it was kind of like in a way it was almost like an ink blot thing where somebody just draws a bunch of and then you just make something out. It was almost that. Like, I mean, it was better than that because there was an image, sorta. It was there, but I mean, I didn't save any of it. It was just throwaway images. So, but it was good enough for me to work off of, and just give me something to work to have so that I can start placing shapes down. And so I did that, and and so this was the first one. It was the weakest. I was using two different brush pens until I decided to settle on the one type of pen, which and so I ended up just using my regular Pentel brush pen that I tend to use the most. And so that's what I did. So that's what these images were. And with watercolor, what I would do is before I would even start with these watercolor shapes, I would just create like an outline, like a just kind of like a silhouette of where I was gonna go, and then I went in with the brush and the ink, and I just kind of worked it out, like kind of felt it out. And again, it was helpful to have some image, even if it was a distorted, messed up image. It helped because it gave me just a general idea as to spacing and placing. I am not a person that can visualize things perfectly in my head. In fact, I think, like my son came up to me the other day because he was depressed. He was like depressed for days, and I didn't know why. So I asked him why, what? Like he just felt bad. He felt so awful. Like, and I'm like, why? He said, because I read that people think that people can imagine things clearly, and I can't. When I think, I can't imagine anything. It just goes blank. I only see blank. I only see blackness. And I was like, okay, hold on. You think that you are somehow inferior to other people because they say that they see things clearly and you don't. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm a storyboard artist. I have to create images from scratch. Out of the top of my head that don't exist for a TV show so that there could be an image there to work off of. And I can tell you right now that I do not see things clearly in my head before I start anything. And I really thought about it because there was a few times a couple of months ago where I needed to sit down and come up with this elaborate action sequence, and literally blackness. There was just black. There was nothing in my head. It was a black screen, completely black screen. And having spoken to my son for the first time ever, I actually recognized that happened. And then I also know that that's also not the case. Like, because he's told me that he dreams, and he's told me what he dreamt. So that means that he sees things in his head. So what ends up happening, especially because, like, for example, I have a brother who doesn't actually, who loves music but is not a musician, and he says that he has made the most beautiful music ever. And then there's a lot of people who have come up with the greatest stories ever, and the greatest images ever, and people who use AI image programs type something out and say, oh, that's exactly how I would have done it. And what ends up happening is that people fool themselves into thinking that they can see things clearer than they actually do. Because the reality is that if that was the case, then people would be able to basically trace, like an observational artist, right? They could look at something and then they can draw it, and they have a good image by simply going back and forth observing, right? Well, if the images in your brain are that clear because you're so clear-minded that you can see things so clearly in your head, then that means that you, if you could draw, should be able to do exactly the same thing with the images in your head. You could just look at it and then just copy it. But that's not the case. In fact, nobody, I should say nobody, very few people could do that. There are people who could do that. They're like magic people, right? They could do that. But most of us don't see clearly. What we actually do is we intuit it. It's a feeling. It's an intuition, and it's a blurry bunch of blurry, weird shapes, right? And then what I ended up discovering is that if I don't look at something and then use that memory of that thing and change it, that's how I work. I look at a thing, something that looks generally like what I want, and then that inputs into my memory, into my brain, like I see it and it becomes part of my memory. And then I could adjust the memory, and then that's how I see an image, and then I could create a new image based off of what I've seen as a memory. Okay? And then even then, it's still not very clear. It's just the impression, the intuition, the feeling I get from that, because I still can't copy it from my head. Now, it has happened that something once or twice in my entire life that has happened where everything is, it's so clear that I could see it and I could copy it. I've done it a few times, but for the most of the time, it's vague, and then I have to work it out on the page and get something that's close to the intuition, that feeling that I'm getting from the blurred, scrambled image in my head. Most people think that the images in their head are clearer than they are. They just have this, like, they trick them, they fool themselves into thinking they're better, smarter, faster, cooler, more intelligent than they actually are. They're actually, most of us are pretty mediocre at everything. So, but we always think that we're always better, right? Like, but the reality is that it's not the case, because if that was the case, then that brilliant idea would have been executed brilliantly, and it usually isn't. That people can't draw because they can't see the thing. So, all of this just to say that it helps me a lot to just have something to work off of, especially just even a garbled, crappy AI image is good enough. So that's what these images are, based off of a garbled image that I redid, that I put and created something else out of, and I bounced off of it. Again, the memento mori thing. So this was fun. This was a really fun exercise to do. And then this I did out of my head, just drawing shapes, trying to do Conan here. This is a sketch I did off of a John Buscema Conan. It didn't quite come out very well, but I was just kind of doing it just for the heck of it. And again, this had no underdrawing in it. I drew it, I went straight to ink, and it was just a steady straight to ink, no underdrawing. And I even exaggerated a little bit. I wanted to actually make it really cartoony, and I didn't. I ended up not making it all that cartoony. This was, I went to a panel at WonderCon. My wife was on a panel, spiritual themes in comics panel. So I just drew, as the panel was about to get ready, I did a quick little observation, drawing. I brought my sketchbook while I waited for the panel to begin. And here's my wife. I drew my wife. I'm going to be trying to draw her more for a few reasons. One, I've been drawing a lot of, in my other sketchbooks, I drew a lot of women, but very few of them were actually my wife, and my wife is really beautiful, and I'm like, why don't I just draw her as much as possible, and it'll be fun. So if I'm gonna draw a pretty lady, I might as well draw my pretty lady, and that's it. Like, that would be fun. Like, it'll be it, but the problem is that it's really, really, really hard to draw her the way that I see her. So it's going to be very, very challenging, because I'm gonna keep doing it, and hopefully I'm gonna get better at it. so that I could capture her likeness, while and also capturing how I see her at the same time. And that's really tricky because um, the way that I see her is probably not the way other people do, but at the same time, she needs to look like her, and it's very, very tricky. So this is my first attempt at drawing her. Um, it's just shadow shapes this time. I don't have any rendering in the midtones or anything like that. At some point, I'll probably do that. There'll probably be cartoony versions of her. There's probably going to be rendered versions of her. There's probably going to be exaggerated caricatures of her. I don't know. I'm still playing around with how I'm going to do it, but that's going to be part of my practice. So this is a brand new sketchbook. I've got a brand new sketchbook. This sketchbook is a very strange sketchbook. It's got white paper on half of it and gray paper on the other half, which is unique. So I'm going to be working on that. And finally, I have this TMNT kind of silhouette. I did this. The drawing is actually about yay big. It's like about that big, right? It's very. Let me see if I can. It's about that big. It's about that big. Yeah, like that. It was on Office Depot. Label paper, like you know the labels that you put on, say my name is, well that's what it is. It was label paper, so that means you could peel it and stick it, so it's basically a sticker. So I drew this for my son. He was playing Fortnite, and he got the Michelangelo Fortnite Ninja Turtle skin. So I drew this while I was waiting for my daughter to finish her dance class. I was outside and I was just doodling, and I had the sticker paper, and then I just did a quick little silhouette shape of Michelangelo. Like I said, it's really tiny. I thought it was going to be more precise when I started it. I thought it was going to be cleaner. And it turned out this way. This is the way it turned out, because it was so small that when I was trying to do fine shapes, they were very gloppy, and I was like, oh, ay, oh, oh, and I didn't have any microns, so I couldn't go in and do something fine. So that's why I have like these really, it looks like really fat shapes here. I wasn't getting the fine shapes that I wanted to. So it is what it is. It came out the way it did. But yeah, I gave it to him. He's like, here, I gave him the sticker. So that's what it is. I said that I might do a sticker for my Patreon patrons. I'm still thinking about how I'm going to do that. I'm going to see if I can't do like, well, we'll see. I'll see about doing that. But it'll be something kind of like this. But like I said, it's a sticker about yay big. So yeah, so these are the drawings for today, for this month. And honestly, this is a lot of work, a lot of stuff that this is more work than I've done in months. Like a lot more drawing than I've done in months. I'm finally getting the energy back to start drawing, which is great. I just hope I get enough time, because work is just, you know, when it rains, it pours, right? Like I was complaining about not having any work for a long time, and now it's like the work is so much that I can barely breathe. So I'm not complaining, but at the same time, I have to find a way to balance it so that I could actually get some of my own stuff done. So thank you for your support. You're great. I love you guys so much, and well, again, thank you so much, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye. So I'm happy to announce that I now have a new drawing lesson called Drafu Guide to Sketching and Gesture Foundations. It's the beginning of the level 2 information that people have been asking me for the drawing website, which will teach you where to start drawing, what to draw when you draw, how to draw from observation, how to draw from imagination, how to draw what you envision, and how to discover what you ought to envision if you don't have anything specific in mind. So if you find any of this interesting, you could follow the link that you see, or you can go to thedrawingwebsite.com, look under level 2, and you'll find a link there.